Let's fight. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you, especially the staff at Guy Oil. Those of you joining us on Twitter, a good night to you. Those of you joining us on Facebook, a good evening to you as well. On YouTube, welcome in the ring. Good evening to you as well. Looking forward to those shares, those retweets. Looking forward to your comment. Quite a program we have set aside for you this evening. And as you know, we're going to stick around a little bit until you get to that magic number. And then we're going to start to delve into all of the hot topics, folks. All of the hot topics. So we're waiting for you guys there. We're waiting for us to reach the magic number, folks. We got to reach that magic number. Waiting on you guys. A very good evening again to all of you. A very good evening to all of you guys. We're making sure that everything is right and correct, true and correct, so that when we start well, folks. When we start well. So we're watching you guys, watching and waiting, folks, watching and waiting. Hoping that all is well at your end, getting ourselves set here, getting ourselves set nicely at this end here. Very nicely. All right. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. We're going to make sure everything is functioning nice for you guys. All right. So watching for when we hit that lovely number. Watching, guys. Making sure we are set nicely here. Got to make sure everything is nice for you guys. How was your day? Did you guys earn this pay? Did you skive on the people's work? Huh? Did we work for every cent? You know how we do it, guys. You know how we do it. We hope you work for every cent. Good to see each and every one of you with us this evening. The numbers are going. Happy to have all of you with us. You know, as we say in the Christian tradition, God is in charge and all shall be well. Good evening to all of you, the hundreds of you who are joining us this evening. We hope that you guys choose to share our live stream back to your pages, back to your profile. Yvonne and Denise and Sandra and Donna. I missed a couple folks for a couple of days. Jacqueline, Beryl. Good night to all of you. Jean and Shelley, Joy, Diane. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Let me practice what I preach and share the live stream myself, guys. Happy to have each and every one of you. I want you all know them a watch we. Them a watch we, folks. They're watching us with 4 eyes, with 6 eyes, 8 eyes. They're watching us from all corners. Them a watch we, folks. All right, so I'm getting ready to share the live stream a couple places. By the time I'm through with that, I'm hoping that you guys have all gathered around the table for us to have this family discussion this evening. We got to talk a little bit about Trevor Benn and the PPP's witch hunting. We got to talk a little bit about Frank Anthony and why he's still thinking about taking this COVID vaccine. Why isn't Frank more resolute? Huh? That is what people want to know. All right, let me try to do this by phone. Try to share. Great. I think we're firing on all 6 cylinders. Firing on all 6 this evening, folks. And the numbers are going. You guys aren't wasting any time at all tonight. Y'all mean business. Your main business this evening. Good to see so many of you sharing the live stream. I hope a couple more of you can do exactly that so that as many persons can benefit from the discussion. Those joining us via Twitter, those persons joining us via Facebook. We are delighted to have each and every one of you this evening. And let me do what I got to do at my end, and that is practice also what we're preaching. We're going to do a bit of sharing myself, making sure we are in all the right places. All right, almost ready. Almost ready. Yep, it's easy when I do it by my phone. I don't know why it takes so long to do via the computer. But there we are, guys. Very, very delighted to have each and every one of you with us. I told folks you got to join early because when you join late, you tend to miss something. Are you guys ready? I am fired up and I'm ready to go. June and Myrtle and Susan and Robert and Myrna. Good to see all of you. David Wood. Really happy to see you guys. Lisa, right? Good to see Lisa, whose surname is spelled Yeheawaya. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I'm going to just leave that there. But Lisa, I see you, Rudy Hines and Lenny McLennan and Suzanne Marshall, Regendra. Good to see all of you guys. Good to see all of you guys. Good to see each and every one of you live and direct. Folks, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. You know what? I see I have my colleague Ganesh Maipol has joined me early. Let me bring Ganesh in early. At least something goes wrong. You see, he's already looking a little too dark. Wherever he, I know,
I don't
like Ganesh
know.
in Brickdam too.
I'm actually outside.
Huh? I want a few in Brickdam too. We can take what we get and wait for what we want.
Let me change my angle to see if you would
Yes,
get
try
me
to get the
right.
light in front of you. Whatever light source you have there, try to get it in front of you. Great. All right. So while Ganesh adjusts to that, I'm gonna hopefully detain Ganesh on the program for the duration of the program. But it's good to see Sonia and Lizzie and JD and Michelle. So many folks joining us. Sonia Rigby joining us from New York. Wow, very nice, Suzanne. And Denise is also in the house. Denise Williams, who says that she's hurting for a beautiful country. Brenda Braffett, Dion Clemenson. We see all of you guys tonight. We see you guys looking good out there, folks. Let me have Ganesh back. Yeah. Let me see if we have Ganesh back with us. Yeah, Ganesh. That
Looks
looks good.
brighter now.
Once your neighbor doesn't come over asking for a little sugar or a little salt during during the
Yeah, I'm
program,
actually
we good to
outside.
go.
A friend visited me, and we are actually sitting outside having a chat. And I
Uh-huh.
accepted because it has been a while since I've been in the ring.
Oh yes, and I know you've been trying to get through for a couple of nights, and it's been a little spotty. So we want to have you now that your internet is better. You look well rested, as though you're ready for the fight. You you're ready for the ring.
Yes, definitely. It has been a while, and I was trying to get through. I had bad internet, unfortunately, but I'm here now.
Great. And Ganesh, you shared some information with us during the course of the week. Is that information public as yet?
But go that again for me, please. Sorry.
I was saying that you shared some information with us during the course of the week, us MPs. Was wondering if that information is public as yet, and you would like to share that with our viewers. The corruption and the fraudulency of this PPC administration and the
I'm
tax that you're
figuring
under
that you.
at work.
Yeah, it's public, of course. Yeah, the administration wants to get me out, and they took a decision recently through the Public Service Commission to dismiss me without a trial. There's no fair trial, at least none that was heard, but the commission took the decision to dismiss me. But I will appeal the decision. I will take it to the Public Service Appellate Tribunal, and I will go as far as the courts because I don't expect to let it go like that without challenging it.
And Ganesh, I'm very
Our
happy that you
democracy allows for us to, for me to do that.
And Ganesh, I'm very happy that you're taking us through those stages as is necessary by law to have it ventilated at those forums and then, if possible, before the courts.
Definitely, that is what democracy in our country entails. And even though there are few in the People's Progressive Party that want a shiny democracy and want to block democracy from working, I will nonetheless express my view, and I will also take note of what are the steps that I have to take to secure my innocence in all of this. And basically, I'm in it for the long haul. I will not allow the PVP to give me additional gray hairs. I have enough of that, and
Yes.
I will head along the lines of democracy and along the line of the rule of law.
And Ganesh, in that letter of dismissal that I saw that the Public Service Commission wrote to you, no reason
Well,
for
that
dismissal was
I know
proffered.
that letter is not valid as yet because I have not officially received a copy, and I have not acknowledged receipt of any copy as
Okay,
yet. What I
I
know is
see.
that they emailed me. I was emailed a copy, but the law requires for me to have a hard copy in my hand, and it requires me to sign saying that I have received an acknowledged receipt of it. So until then, I will not release the content of the letter,
Good,
nor will I
good.
release the letter of itself. I am awaiting the official copy, which will have my signature on it, acknowledging receipt, and then that I will release.
Great. Gareth, but I'm happy that you're here with us this evening. We have not dismissed you, and you are here in the ring, and you're going to pelt some punches where necessary. So I'm happy that you're going to help us to walk through some of our hot topics this evening. So, folks, as you
Definitely.
joining us,
I'm getting a heavy feedback. So what I want to do is if you permit me to log out and log in back because this feedback is really affecting me on this side.
go right ahead, Ganesh. So, guys, in the
Thank
meantime,
you.
let us walk through our hot topics. We are going to get that sorted out very very shortly. But I'm ready to walk through the hot topics with you guys. And so, folks, let's fight. Let's fight. We got to contend for the faith. Let's fight. We're still following this information coming out of the Ghana Police Force, where the chaplain, his services with Ghana Police Force was terminated last evening. We have not seen a letter to the effect that his services were reinstated. We haven't seen a letter to that effect. But we know that he did receive a letter that his services were no longer required. And some of the information that was proffered suggested that a prayer that was said at the officers' conference upsetted, according to the letter, the contents of the letter received by the chaplain, upsetted the president, ministers of government, and distinguished guests. According to the letter, they were upset to their utter disgust at such repugnant, fallacious, and inappropriate utterances. Yep. At that, what they considered a dignified and professional activity. But the president came out last evening saying that he has no issues with the prayer. He went as far as saying that he thinks that the prayer was good. He liked the prayer. And so the question has to be asked for, folks, who is lying? Who is lying? Let me see if I get Ganesh back with us. Ganesh?
Yes, Sherrod, if you're hearing me.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, I'm here.
You still having that echo problem?
I'm hearing it slightly, but let's work with that.
All right, great. So we're talking about this correspondence from the police force dismissing the chaplain of the police force, and whether or not the president was involved, because the whoever wrote the letter said that the president, felt His Excellency felt disgusted, utter disgust. Where would they have gotten that impression from had they not been communicated directly to by the president? It seems strange.
Definitely, and the duplicitous and two-faced behavior of the People's Progressive Party still continues to reign in this land. So I am still awaiting to see the letter that reinstated the chaplain. But it shows that the Guyana police force is not ready to confront their ills. They're not ready to confront the vices that are present in the
Yep.
police force because if
Yep.
somebody can offer a prayer as genuine as the one we heard, where he basically said what is known, the public knows what he said there. And if the
And he knows
hierarchy
it,
of the
and the
police
public
force,
knows it to be true.
exactly, and if the hierarchy of the police force is not prepared to accept and prepared to accept that there are faults in the Ghanaian police force, then we are heading nowhere. That's a great dictatorship, so to speak.
Yep, again we see the duplicity because you know Ali plays good cop in one instance, and then the police force gets to play bad cop, and then he sweeps down. When we keep seeing this pattern, like the hero, when all along he's the villain behind the scenes, pulling the string and having his own strings pulled as well.
Definitely, but it's something that really raised the thought in me. We are a secular society, and we are a society that basically embrace and accept not only a chaplain for the police force, but we should also have that tolerance to
Yep.
accept also a MAG for the police force or a pandit for the police force. And it goes to show that we have a long way to go as a country because we cannot be putting one religion above the other. In a country like Guyana, we have to respect the fact that weight must be given equally to all the religious denominations, or at least the three major religious denominations. And if not, then let's have a secular apparatus in place that can play its role. And that is what I find very difficult at this point in time. And it raised a question, in my view, about the cops and faith. And I am now triggered to go and investigate the membership of the cops and faith and to see what is its composition from a religious standpoint, from a ethnic standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, to understand really and truly if it is reflective of what our country represents and if it is reflective of what is supposed to be in an organization such as the Guyana Police Force. Because, Sherrod, we have to understand that various wrongs can basically sprang out from the root issue. And if the root issue is that you have one religious organization, then it can lead to many wrongs within the organization, because the organization is not a Christian organization, it is not a Hindu organization, it is not a Muslim organization, it is not a Rastafarian organization. It is an organization that is there for all of Guyana. It is the Guyana Police Force. And if I can go broader than that, we may even need to look at the Guyana Defense Force. We may even need to look at various other ethnic relations commission. We may need to look at all these other commissions and all these other organizations that are supposed to carry a secular mandate, not a religious mandate, a secular mandate. And if they need religious guidance to execute their secular mandate, then their religious face must be one that reflects Guyana and not a partisan role or a part of Guyana. It must be one that reflects the entire Guyana. And I think there are bigger issues that really came out from this ordeal. There are bigger issues that we have to deal with concerning this issue with the chaplain being dismissed and reinstated. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have to go deeper than that. And when we go deeper than that and we are able to solve the issue, then we will be able to see a reformed police force. We will be able to see a force that reflects the true identity of Guyana, and we will be able to embrace a police force that may be more sensitive to the people of Guyana when they understand the people of Guyana. And in order to understand the people of Guyana, you have to reflect the people of Guyana.
Yes, Ganesh. I tried to mute my mic when you were talking. Maybe you can do the same, and we tend to have a better, not have the echo. So let
Definitely,
us
I
turn
didn't get
our
the echo
attention
just
now.
now.
Now, I always say we have a segment called Guyana is not a real place, folks. And indeed, the more you examine this country, you get a sense that it is not a real place. Let's turn our attention, for instance, to COVID 19. And we can't turn our attention to COVID 19 without looking at the one and only Frank Anthony. Now, in a report just today, Ganesh, we see the minister is saying that he's still thinking, right, about taking the COVID 19 vaccine, right? He is still thinking about taking the COVID 19 vaccine. Have you ever seen anything like this, Ganesh? This is madness. Is this leadership by
From,
example?
from the from the Minister of Health, no less a person than the Minister
Yeah,
of Health. If the
yeah,
Minister of Health is having this is not, if the Minister of Health is not excited, and he's not basically moved by the fact that a vaccine has been developed and
yeah,
vaccines are in Guyana for people to be immunized from COVID-19. And he is not moved by that. He is not enthusiastic to know that. He is not very happy, so to speak. And he's not displaying the attitude of wanting the vaccine. Why should I go and take it? Why should you go and take it? And I think it is necessary for me to tell the viewers that as a member of parliament, I received an email from the parliament, from the National Assembly, indicating that the vaccines are available for members of parliament, and members of parliament can make themselves available to receive the vaccine. I am taking a personal position on this, and I am not prepared to take the vaccine. And I have many reasons why, which I will share some with you at this point in time. The first is I have no faith in the vaccine because of the fact that the health minister himself seems to have no faith. And additionally, I have heard and read that when you take this vaccine, you still require to wear the masks, you still require to use your hand sanitizer, you're still required to stay 6 feet apart, and you're still required to observe all the COVID 19 measures. So, what is the purpose
yeah,
of me
yeah,
taking the vaccine? Because
yeah,
without the vaccine, I have to do all of these things. And with the vaccine, I still have to do all of these things. I see no reason, I see no merit in taking the vaccine from that vantage point. Additionally, and perhaps this is more important to me, there are vulnerable Guyanese. I have family members, I have friends, and the entire Guyana, so to speak, that are necessary if it is deemed necessary to take this vaccine. And I cannot, in my rightful mind, be a representative of the people. And I cannot be someone that speaks on behalf of the people and stand for their well being and their welfare and go and take a vaccine knowing that there isn't enough to give each and every Guyanese, and knowing that there is no guarantee that this vaccine even makes any sense. So, on those views, on those position, and from that vantage point, I will not be taking the vaccine. More so, I believe that Guyana should have, instead of taking these gifts, so to speak, in terms of the vaccines that will have to be given as two shots, we should have expended some resources to get the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, which is a one-shot vaccine. Our country is a country with large geography in terms of where our people reside. And we have our mobile, in terms of mobility, our people, they move very frequently. And we don't have a catalog nor do we have a tracking system that can pinpoint Tom Jones or Jane. We don't have that system in place effectively. So, if someone from region 1, and I'm just going to randomly call a village and a name here, if someone from region 1, Moruca, let's say Tom from Moruca, takes the first shot of the AstraZeneca or the other vaccine, and Tom from Moruca moves out from Moruca and goes to live in, let's say, Bonasica in the Essequibo River, what measure do you have in place that you can find back Tom for when he is ready for his second vaccine, when you're going to give the second dose in Maruka? These are things that need to be worked out. These are things that need to be properly put in place. The system must be there. The institution must be there, and it must be on solid footing before you go into executing what you want to execute for the vaccine. But I must say to you, Sharon, you will remember that when we were debating the COVID 19 and when we were debating that motion pertaining to COVID 19, there was a specific whereas clause where Frank Anthony said in the motion that they will bring legislation to the parliament. They will bring your mic is muted. I see you're attempting to speak.
I'm just saying, Ganesh, there's where I'm going, because they had promised, and the point we're making this evening is that this promise by the PPP government didn't age well, where they promised vaccination laws ahead of the COVID rollout so that you can have the rollout of the vaccination process smooth and coherent and orderly, right? But that is not what we're seeing currently, and it's only going to get worse.
And I think that Frank should be held accountable for that what he said in the National Assembly. He said that you're going to have legislation rolled out for the vaccination for COVID 19. And he said that it would happen before the vaccine is being administered. But we do not have that. And it is very unfortunate. So there is no trust in my view. There is no confidence, in my view, in the current Minister of Health, and more so the Ministry of Health, in the manner in which it is being run. There is no guarantee that our people are safe. There is no guarantee that there is anything that is of substance being done by the Ministry of Health to ensure the safety and the well-being of our people are protected. And it's very sad that we have to go down this road, but it is necessary for us to inform our people so that they can know definitively that whenever they take that decision, which is theirs to make, whether they will take the vaccine or not. And I am not prepared to take it on the grounds that I would have pointed out to you earlier. And I trust that persons will make informed decisions. And I hope that our country can recuperate, so to speak. We are right now on the verge of collapse, not only in the health sector, but we're seeing what is happening in our security sector. We're seeing what is happening in our economic sector. Cost of living is rising. The gas price, fuel price has gone up again. And we are seeing a burden being placed on our people, which is basically going to lead to many other unfortunate activities. And I've always said that if you want to tackle domestic violence, if you want to tackle suicide, if you want to tackle depression, if you want to tackle all the sicknesses that are plaguing our country, then the fundamental thing that we have to do as a government is make our people happy. And part of making our people happy is to ensure that we have strengthened institutions that can deliver proper services. We have started that course when we were there in 2015. We have begun the process to strengthen our institutions. The health sector saw massive infrastructural improvement, and we were at the point of basically retraining our nurses and doctors to be more people oriented, more people friendly. We were going down
And making
that
great
road.
strides as well, and making great strides as well, Ganesh, in that regard.
Exactly. And we also did it in the teaching sector, where we strengthened the school environment, making it more conducive to learning. We were basically adding a better system for our teachers in terms of their communication with the pupils and students. We even did it in terms of infrastructure. We saw greater amount of roads being done, asphaltic concrete. We were moving towards reinforced concrete bridges, sea defense infrastructure. We lifted the aesthetics of the country, and more and specifically there was an upliftment in the public sector and how the public sector operated. And there is where the Bertram Collins College came into play. We had our young persons who had an interest in the public sector going to the Bertram Collins College, they were trained to become better public servants before we put them into the job. You know, there was a focus, there was a mission that the APNU AFC was on. The APNU AFC had that vision for a better Guyana. And they recognized that in order to achieve this vision or to accomplish this mission, there were a set of procedures that one had to follow. And at
Correct.
no
Correct.
time, 5 years were enough time to accomplish what is the bigger picture. But the foundation was there, the foundation was laid. Unfortunately, because of the geopolitics, because of the external forces, and because of fraud, the APNU AFC did not get that chance to continue that work which they started. But it must not go without us saying that the People's Progressive Party, instead of them continuing on that good footing, they have changed the trajectory completely. They have gone back to the days in the 23 years they ruled, where they had absolutely no regard and respect for the public service, absolutely no concern in terms of job security. They continue to give budgets that are private sector oriented, and I have no problem if they want to catapult development by through the private sector. But the private sector, what is it that the private sector is doing to enhance people's lives? All these people that the private sector has working with them, are they increasing those people's salaries? Are they giving them an increase in their salary whilst they are gaining? Is there any course that the private sector is sponsoring for their employees? Is there any upliftment package that is given that can lift the standard of living and lift the IQ level and lift the basic environment in which these workers are dwelling in? That is yet to be seen. So you had the APNU AFC focusing on the poor and vulnerable and basically trying to lift their standard while we maintain what we already had, where you would say the rich stays rich and the poor, we're raising them to the rich standard. But now you have a People's Progressive Party where their focus is making the rich richer and making the poor poorer. Very unfortunate situation in our country.
And I share those views. Firstly, as an individual, I have taken the position personally that I will not receive the COVID-19 vaccine until the folks who really need it, the folks who really out there every day, because they can't do anything different. If they stay home from work, they will not be paid. The family are going to go hungry. Who really need the vaccine, they should get it first. And I believe too, as a husband and a father, I can take a vaccine knowing that my wife is still exposed when she goes to work, when she goes to the market, and I am the only one. So unless the whole family can take it, and I'm not going to bully anybody in that regard, I am not going to take it. There are so many other people who are deserving of that vaccine. So many people who are on the front line who can do no better, who have to go to town every day and mix, or in their villages and mix because they have to work, they have to travel on public transportation. Those are the folks, I believe, who should be receiving the vaccine first and foremost.
And Sharon, if I may add, We have in this country what 100 and what 10,000 vaccine or 130,000
Yes.
vaccine somewhere
Correct. Somewhere
thereabout, right?
thereabout. Somewhere thereabout.
Somewhere thereabout. But when you look at the frontline workers of this country, all the police officers are frontline officers
Good. Correct.
because they have to work every single day. We
Well,
have
Frank said
the
he's not.
fire
Frank said he's not a
service,
frontline worker. Frank
the
said he.
fire service,
Yeah.
the fire service workers, they are frontline workers. The Guyana Defense Force, given what is happening with Venezuela and the likes, they are also considered frontline workers. The hospital nurses are frontline workers. The doctors are frontline workers. The cleaners are frontline workers. All the hospital staff, they are basically frontline workers because a doctor can't do his or her work, or a nurse cannot do his or her work without the auxiliary staff being there. The cleaners need to be there. The ward mates need to be there. The porters, they need to be there. The security guards, they need to be there. All of these people are frontline workers. They were not afforded the privilege to stay home. They cannot. And in the private sector, you know that you cannot stay away from your job and hope to get pay. You got to work for the money. So all those people are frontline workers. And we have a government that is focusing on opening up the country at the detriment of our people. And you want to tell me that you're still determining who are frontline workers? If you're opening the country and you're allowing weddings to go on, you're allowing car racing to go on, you're allowing partying in these clubs to go on, sleep in hotel, can have late night activities, then all of those are frontline workers. All of those activities can be categorized for frontline. So you have more than 130,000 people who can be categorized as frontline workers, but you only have 130,000 vaccines. Why is it necessary for the parliamentarians to be treated as better and as more luxurious in terms of getting this vaccine as opposed to those frontline workers? But that does not take away from the fact that I have no faith in the vaccine and I will not be taking it.
And I share all of your sentiments, Ganesh. I want to turn our attention to the detention, the unlawful detention of Mr. Trevor Benn. And this is an issue that we are looking at currently. We believe that Mr. Benn is innocent. Ganesh, have you ever heard anything like this? They want to charge him for fraud for land that was sold by the commission, monies that were received by the Guyana, the Lands and Survey Commission, monies that were received, and they're seeking to charge Mr. Ben for fraud and a whole bunch of nonsense. Have you seen anything like this before? It's madness.
Well, it comes back to what the chaplain was praying about. The Guyana police force is being influenced. The Guyanese police force has a lot of issues. The Guyana police force need to get its act in order. And I believe instead of saying the Guyana police force, it is fitting to say the Guyana political force, that is an arm of the People's Progressive Party. You know, we have a lot of arms. The People's Progressive Party has a lot of arms. Some of them are directly attached
Yeah.
to the People's Progressive Party, whilst some are indirectly attached to the People's
Yeah.
Progressive Party.
Correct.
There is no
Correct.
doubt that the Guyana Agriculture Workers Union is a direct arm of the People's
Correct.
Progressive Party. There is no doubt that the Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha is a direct arm of the People's Progressive
Yeah.
Party. And you know this because you see that, for example, GAU, which is a workers' union, they have a member of parliament sitting in the National Assembly from the People's Progressive Party list. So, where is the neutrality? Where is the bipartisan manner in which this organization is supposed to approach? God knows. The Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha, which is a religious organization, it is supposed to take a religious stance and it is supposed to basically be focusing on religion. They have a political person that is at the in the National Assembly also. So those are direct arms as far as I'm concerned, of the People's Progressive Party. Another direct arm of the People's Progressive Party is Lennox Schumann, and I say that with no apologies. He is a direct arm of the People's Progressive Party. He fooled our indigenous brothers and sisters to say that he will be neutral. He said that he sees himself as the balance in the National Assembly. But how can you be the balance when you are receiving over $800,000 in salaries and benefits and from the People's Progressive Party, and you have basically towed the line of the People's Progressive Party? You have accepted that the questions you ask in the National Assembly are questions that were given to you by the People's Progressive Party. So you basically have used, abused, and now refused the indigenous community of our dear land. And they are intelligent people. They see him for who he is. And I'm sure they will not make that mistake that they once made, and that is to entrust him with their vote for him to go and represent them. And we see clearly that he is not representing them. And then we have arms of the PPP that are indirect. And these are arms that the PPP really foster themselves onto and basically forcefully take control of. The Guyana Police Force is one such organization that is unfortunately fallen into this trap. The Local Government Commission will be another one when it soon comes up, because that is the trait that the People's Progressive Party has. The Public Procurement Commission might be very well the same. The Public Service Commission, the Police Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, all these are indirect arms of the PPP. And that is the kind of culture that the People's Progressive Party play, this dominance where they abuse the democracy, where they infiltrate the autonomy of these constitutional agencies. And that act has already commenced by them removing these agencies from taking funds directly from the consolidated fund, but rather they have to pass through the Ministry of Finance. And it is Gail Teixeira who sits and answers questions pertaining to them and their spending. And we know that we have credible information coming from the Parliament that the Parliament that the Parliament I think somewhere around $3 billion from the Consol Fund, and they did not
Yeah.
get that amount. Instead, they got
Yeah.
1.2 or 1.3 billion.
Ganesh, as we monitor the detention of Mr. Trevor Benn, we want to bring to you some of what transpired earlier outside of the Brigham lockups. There was a protest out there that is ongoing, a protest slash vigil, and we want to bring you guys some of that footage of what is transpiring in front of the Brigham lockups, even as we speak, while we invite you guys to share the live stream, retweet, join us also on YouTube, and we are going to be back with some comments at the other end. And Ganesh, Ganesh, welcome back. As we make other interventions, we know
Brian,
that
come and
these
lock this
protest
door before people
activities,
come in.
as we make other interventions, Ganesh, we know that we are going to escalate our protest activity, folks. And so we are monitoring the detention, the unlawful detention of Mr. Trevor Benn in our view. And earlier during the course of the day, Mr. Harmon was also out there. Mr. Harmon visited with Mr. Benn at the Brigham lockups. And I want to share some of that with you this evening. And we're going to have some commentary from Ganesh just in a little bit. I'm not going to share the entire interview, some of it, as you share this live stream on your Facebook profiles and on your Facebook page. This is some of what Mr. Harmon said earlier. All right, some folks saying that they're not getting any sound, so we're going to monitor that. I don't know what may be causing that, but they are saying that they're getting they're not getting any sound. So I don't know. I don't think that is my my issue. We can ask you guys to turn up, but we're gonna have some more of that. Mr. Harmon did visit with Mr. Ben, and again we are going to escalate our actions as need be for this very very unlawful detention of Mr. Ben, folks. I want to turn my attention, or your attention rather, to some other events that we are following. Again, we see the this witch hunting of our folks. We see this wanton witch hunting of folks in the public sector. We see the wanton witch hunting of the folks in the public sector. And it is not going to be, it is not, I repeat, it is not going to be tolerated further. And you will see more action, ladies and gentlemen, where this is concerned. Again, we are going to be monitoring what is happening, and we're going to be giving you information as the need arises. But just to show you what is continuing to happen, Irfan Ali had 19 fraud charges. Ali Nandalal had fraud charges before him. Ashni Singh, Winston Brassington, right? Even Claudette, that swing, had fraud charges pending before her. And we see what is happening now. We see what is happening now, right? They had these charges dropped. These charges dropped without any reasons being given to the public. And yet we continue to see this political witch hunting that is happening. And I'm just giving you a few. I'm just giving you a few instances of where this political witch hunting is happening. Ganesh?
Yes, I'm here. You see, this attack on Trevor Benn is bigger than just Trevor Benn. It is an attack on the thousands of public servants who were dismissed from their jobs, and it may have a different impact in terms of Trevor Ben facing a more traumatized attack and maybe psychologically damaged because of what he's going through, but it doesn't take away from what has happened to the thousands of public servants and the thousands of workers in our country that are being dismissed on a daily basis, so to speak.
Yep.
So it
Yep.
is indeed a time where it is a call for action, and I hope that people will signal their intention of standing up against this kind of behavior. It is, I hope, people's intention to basically send a strong message to the illegal, fraudulent, and illegitimate regime that is currently squatting in office. And I hope that they will change their approach and see that there is indeed a need for a unified Guyana. I doubt they will, because, as you always put it, it's old used tires that have returned. And some people say old wine in new wine bottle. But we must not be discouraged, and we must not be laid back in how we respond to this kind of behavior. We owe it to our offspring, we owe it to our children and grandchildren to stand up and fight for a unified democratic Guyana. And it is a call for action. And I hope all will stand up for this cause.
And Ganesh, that is why we are monitoring, for instance, what is happening at Guy Oil, because we have been made to understand that since this new human resource manager has took over at Guy Oil, we have had people losing their jobs, and it seems to be people of one complexion. And you always tell me, don't put it on your side, but we're saying good night to all except Guy Oil this evening, especially the leadership team at Guy Oil, because we've been receiving numerous complaints, Ganesh, about this new human resource manager who is bringing on his own people, not having them pass through the correct procedures for being hired by Guy Oil and a state entity. And lots of people are receiving their pink slip. Lots of people are being dismissed. And every time I pull in at a Guy Oil gas station, every time I pull in at a Guy Oil gas station, it is the one complaint. I can stop in Quarantine, I can stop in Region 3, I can stop in Region 10. I get the consistent complaint of the dismissals at Guy Oil. And again, that is why we're saying this evening, good night to all, except the human resource manager at Guy Oil and the entire leadership team there. Ganesh?
You see, everything rises and falls on leadership. And it is the people who are responsible for this change, not only at Guy Oil, but at the other entities, Guy Suku, and all other areas that you can think about where they are putting in their scapegoats. And it is the person in the name of Irfan Ali who is responsible for all of this. And it should be every night, it should be good night to all except Irfan Ali, because he is the one that holds the power, and he is the one that is responsible for what is happening in our country. And he must be man enough to accept that it is his weak leadership, and it is his type of leadership that is causing us to fall in disarray. It is his type of behavior as head of state that is responsible for what is happening in all the sectors of our country. And we cannot afford to continue like this. And that is why I say it is that time when we have to reach out and stand together. It is the call for action. And actions oftentimes speak louder than words. And I appeal to the Guyanese people to realize that there is need for a call for action. You're muted, Sherrod.
Apologies. That's why I said, without any apologies, we're saying a good night to all except the human resource manager at Guy Oil. And we are going to make life difficult for some people as they're making life difficult for us. Folks, I want to turn our attention to the Minister of Education, also known as she is a preposition, because this minister is a bad John, right? This minister, while being corrected in the National Assembly, Ganesh, called somebody stupid. You're stupid or what? She's a preposition. This same minister here, right? And without changing course, Ganesh, we have been having lots of complaints right on this very program with the worksheets that are going home. Now, this worksheet teaching grade 6 students, I think it is, right? Giving Guyana more regions than I know about. I don't know if the PPP add more regions in the country since they come back, right? But if you see the demarcation at the bottom of region 10, for instance, there's an extra piece of land there that is not a region. So I don't know whether they're giving that to the Venezuelans or what is happening. And some of the regions, I think, are not correctly numbered. So parents have been complaining about these worksheets, Ganesh. And this minister that, Pippin Tom was telling us the other day, messed up so badly when she was Minister of Education before. Only God knows why they put her back there.
And I see her going down the road of reopening our schools. And I don't know how prepared our schools are in this
Ganesh,
COVID
we're going to talk
pandemic.
about that in a minute because I got to raise an issue where that is concerned and COVID 19.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
So on that note, folks, I want to bring to you as well, some comments from the minister in the National Assembly concerning these worksheets. There was one point where we were photocopying books at the ministry, and they didn't have a problem with that because we're a third world country. Anything should happen. There is no bar for the people to reach to. They just do anything. So this is the minister in the National Assembly on the worksheet, folks. Take a listen. The worksheet program will continue. And yes, if there are spelling or word spelled incorrectly, these things take years to develop. There may be spelling mistakes here or there, or there might be a sum that is wrong here or there. These things usually take years to develop. We developed it in weeks. Yep. The worksheet program will continue. And yes, if there is spelling or word spelled incorrectly, these things take years to develop. There may be spelling mistakes here or there, or there might be a sum that is wrong here or there. These things usually take years to develop. We developed it in a sum wrong here or there, Ganesh. A spelling error here or there. A region that is, not numbered correctly or extra regions. You might get 16 regions soon, right? That is all right. These things take years. Education takes years to get facts right. Right? Once we're putting out worksheets and so on. Ganesh?
Sharad, I am not sure if your viewers heard the recording properly, but I did not hear it properly. But I do know I was in the National Assembly when she was saying an error here and an error there. But I don't know if she is a preposition was an error also. But I do know that you expect the vetting process of these worksheets to be done properly and effectively. And you cannot have a ministry that is basically allocated the largest sum of money from the budget, and then you have these.
Yep. All right, folks. So we are following. We are going to bring that recording to you at the end of the program. It's going to be on my page. So those persons who would have missed it, you'll get a second chance to see it. But turning my attention now to another issue is the ministry only giving vaccines to teachers who they say, I have Ganesh back with me, who they have, let me see if we get it right, who they have recommended. So for a teacher on the front line, Ganesh, right, you have to be recommended for COVID-19 vaccination. This is the Ministry of Education. You have to be recommended. And there's a whole a thing here to follow up by the officer in charge of the region, and you got to get it signed by your headmistress. To get COVID-19 vaccine as a teacher, you have to get a recommendation. While parliamentarians
And
can just,
that's the sad
waltz into the
state.
National Assembly and get their vaccinations. All we need is an
That's
ID
the
card.
sad. That's
Madness.
the sad state of affair. Very sad state of affair. Now you're going to see a lot of discrimination in such a process. Friends, sometimes people who are not even teachers may even be put on such a list. It is very, very unfortunate and discriminatory, to say the least. The government should have really had a proper institution in place and a proper apparatus in place to administer these COVID-19 vaccine. And they should really and truly come clean with the Guyanese people so as to give them that confidence
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
importance as they claim for this vaccine. But they have not. They have been staying silent on it. They have basically been putting us at risk as far as I'm concerned. And it comes back as to why people should really take a double check and really think again as to the importance of this so-called immunization vaccine against COVID-19.
Yeah. And Ganesh, before we go, because we're right at program time, I want to raise the final issue for the evening. The Director of Public Prosecution says that the assault of a member of parliament cannot be looked into, cannot be probed by the DPP, but by the speaker, because it happened in the sanctity of parliament. So if I get stabbed in Parliament, if I get shot in Parliament, the DPP can't probe it because it's in Parliament. The Speaker has to launch an investigation, a criminal investigation. Ganesh.
Sharad, I believe that the Speaker of the National Assembly should really reach out to his predecessors. He should really reach out to them so that he can gain some knowledge in terms of having a training program for him. Because as much as he was willing to facilitate a training program for young MPs, and as much as it is a culture of the National Assembly to have training programs for young MPs, I think this speaker has displayed the need for training program for him. I think he needs to reach out to his predecessor. He should be mature enough to call on Raphael Trotman, Ralph Ramkaran, and the others. I know that Oscar Clark is alive and well, and he was a speaker before. He was acting speaker actually for 2 years, I think 1968 and 69, and all of those speakers are available at his
Yeah, yeah.
disposal, and he should make use of them. And I think that may assist him in being a better speaker, but it has to do a lot with him and the manner in which he operates, because he can get the best of training if he holds in one line to be partisan and he wants to be biased in his approach. He will. So he has to first acknowledge and accept that as speaker, he is the speaker for the National Assembly and not for the People's Progressive Party. He has to accept that if he's going to perform effectively and if he's going to do his work in a manner that is basically going to be deemed as fair. He has to accept that he has a duty, a function, and a role to treat every member of parliament equal. He has to accept those kind of responsibilities if he's going to be effective and if he's going to be important in terms of bringing the decency into the National Assembly and basically sticking to the standing order and applying it across the board. You know, it really bothered me that he suspended your.
All right, I seem to have lost Ganesh there, folks. But as we wrap up, we want to continue to advise you to sanitize, wear your mask, social distance. Ganesh,
I
sorry about
wanted to say this
that.
last part, Sharon. I wanted to say that it
Go
really
right ahead.
bothered me that he suspended you for the use of cellular phone when there is
Yep.
evidence on Priya Manik Chan's Facebook page that she was using cellular phone. When there is evidence where we called out to him to say that Nigel Dharamlal was using his cell phone. So Parag was using her cellular phone. Priya Manikchan is on her cellular phone multiple times in the house. And there are many other members on the PPP side that the speaker seems not to see. And I would sometimes wonder if he's blind on the right eye or deaf on the right ears, because he seems not to hear and see what these people are doing, but he always see and hear what the members of the opposition are doing. And that alone shows how biased he is. But I
Correct.
trust, as I said, that he will reach out to his predecessors and he will engage them, and hopefully he will be a better speaker moving forward. I mean, he is equally learning on the job as we are. And to give him the benefit of the doubt, that is my humble advice, that he reaches out to his predecessor and takes some training sessions from them.
Well, Ganesh, he usually tunes in, so I hope this is one of the evening he is tuned in and watching in the ring to heed some of that advice that you're giving. Ganesh, I want to thank you for sharing the program with me this evening and walking with us through the hot topics, the pulse of what is happening in our country. Thanks very much, Member of Parliament Ganesh Maipal.
It's always a privilege, my brother, notwithstanding the internet issues. As you can see, I've been having some of it again here tonight, but nonetheless, it was better tonight than what it was a couple of days back.
And I'm happy about that. GT&T, please help Ganesh out. A good night to all, except the human resource manager at Guy Oil and the leadership team there. Folks, let's get it right. Ganesh, thanks for joining. Folks, mask up, sanitize, social distance, and let's save some lives. Thanks,
Thank you.
Ganesh.
Good night.
Thanks for joining all. See you tomorrow evening.